Hello, welcome. I'm Steve Watson here at Someday Farm. I had a thought for those of you interested in consciousness, Neja Chuan, meditation, and human experience, I guess. So I just kind of Googled here. I didn't do deep research, just quickly Googled and got an answer. So I'm going to give you some numbers. You don't need to remember them. You also don't need to argue them. I'm just finding one number that Google tells me without getting, too in the weeds and sourcing a bunch of different numbers and looking up the sources of the data and correlating them with the years and adjusting for inflation kind of thing. I'm just giving a number. But my guess here is that if you just took 10% of each number, we're still going to end up with a really big number, and that would suffice to make my point. So the real point here is just that these are going to be some large numbers. And even if, so I got a little bug bite here. Oh, that's painful. And even if the numbers are wrong, and I'm sure they're not the most accurate numbers, but I think they're accurate enough to serve my point, we can draw something from this. So 24 million people in the world are considered homeless. 24 million. %16 of the global population is estimated to be experiencing a disability. So that's 1.3 billion people. I may sneeze, by the way. There are an estimated 258 million widows around the world. It is estimated that there are 700 million, another one of these says 719 million, so we'll just say 700 million people. This is November 2022. 700 million people live in below the poverty line, are impoverished. It looks like that number rose by about 10% from the previous, which I assume is the previous year. 700 million people who are impoverished. About 33% of people report feeling extreme stress. In the United States, about 3.5% of adults have PTS, what you may know as PTSD. There are an estimated, this is 2020, an estimated 18 million cancer cases worldwide. 18 million. Apparently 11.5 million prisoners exist worldwide. I'm sure that's a pretty tough estimate to arrive at. What's this here? 100 million people have been forcibly displaced as a result of conflict, human rights violations. Another estimate, 108 million people are asylum seekers, refugees, internally displaced, or people in need of international protection. An estimated 736 million women, that's about 1 in 3, have been subjected to physical and or sexual intimate partner violence. Roughly one, this is I think a U.S. Number, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men. So 1 in 4 and 1 in 9. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner couple violence, or intimate partner stalking. Apparently, 1 in 7 people globally, so that's 1 in 7 people are affected by migraines. In the U.S. alone, that's about 35 million. Well, it says here 1.1 billion people. It is estimated that 14 million people worldwide have rheumatoid arthritis. You can pick similar challenges and Google your own, or Bing if you prefer, your own statistics, and you can certainly do better on the statistics than I have. But my point here is that, do you think in any of those groups nobody is content? Do you think in those groups nobody is happy today? Do you think in those groups nobody is ecstatic today? Do you think in those groups there exists no individual who is happy? Do you think in those groups you experience there's no person that is experiencing optimism? I would say that in any of those groups, there are certainly people that are happy, that are optimistic, that are joyous, that are delighted, that are giddy, that are open and curious, that are enjoying themselves, that are content, that are blissed out. Whatever group of people experiencing challenges. I just thought of a few there and I Googled those things. Whatever sizable group we find, we're not going to find it devoid of individuals who are happy or in a good mood. By the same token, some of them are not going to be in a bad mood and are going to be depressed or contemplating suicide or frustrated or angry or short-fused or disappointed or morose or closed off or, anything like that. Of course, as with any large enough group. But my point here is that if we can agree that there are most certainly people in any of those groups who are, pick your word, happy, joyous, blissed out, content, smiling, looking up, then we cannot say that those things are the cause of unhappiness. We cannot say that those things prevent happiness or joy or bliss or contentedness or whatever the word is. They may be challenges to those things, but the mood that you're in, and this is my point, is up to you. It's up to you. You can decide to be in another mood. Have I said that it would be easy to decide? No. Have I said that there's a momentum to the mood that you're in that may challenge you in terms of shifting to another mood? I haven't said that. There probably is, or it feels like there is. But your mood is your choice. And we may choose from among the easier or the harder things. We may choose in a way that feels like it wasn't a choice, like it was beneath my surface consciousness. But if we can recognize that these are indeed choices, then I can begin to make those choices and work on developing the skills of recognizing where I've made choices that I wasn't fully aware of and how I might participate in choices. What do those skills look like? How do I practice those skills? And I would say it starts with noticing it. It starts with awareness. It starts with this understanding that it's within your power to shift the mood you're having. And as you might guess, like lighting a candle, right, beside you, the people around you will experience the light from that candle, the warmth from that candle. And your mood affects those around you. And so we can learn to recognize that the mood is not, the mood that I may prefer to have is not outside of my reach. Whatever challenges I have or sufferings I'm undergoing, it is not outside my reach. Might it be hard to get to? Sure. Might it be hard to remember that you can? Yeah. But it starts here, it starts now. This awareness, developing those tools. So give it a try. Rather than succumbing to the inertia of the mood you're in, or perhaps the momentum of the mood you're in, or the comfort of the mood that you're in, even if it's a mood that you describe as negative. There may be a comfort with blaming forces outside your control for it. Even if you can't name those forces, just say, well, I just am this way. Or that person did that, and those people did that, and that's why. Or my arthritis is acting up, and that's why I'm grumpy. No, it's not. That may be why it's harder for you to decide to be less grumpy. Okay, that's fair, and I'm sorry that that's difficult. But difficulties are surmountable. This is one of the reasons that we have disciplines and practices and studies and Sangha. Okay, thank you very much. Please check in, comment.